In this video, we're going to be looking at specific, critical, psychological data points of when Ben Askren and how Ben Askren, that's the most important thing, totally dominated that psychological space in the press conference with Jake Paul. And we're going to use this information to understand what was exactly going on at that. I'm going to strip it bare for you, okay? But also communicate in a way that then you specifically can go and use these psychological techniques maybe to dominate other people who you need to dominate, maybe win that mental battle, the cerebral battle in any type of competition environment, but then also bring all this together. Bring it all together to let you understand what this means for the output of the fight, who could win and why from a psychological perspective. So my last video done very well, and thank you very much for the support. The likes, the comments, all help with the algorithm. I really appreciate that. But it was a generic overview of what was going on with the press conference. I've got loads of questions, Believe in Bruce, can you tell me a little bit more about this? Well, what was going on there? Why? Why did you say that was happening? Give me a little bit more detail. Why are you so confident that Ben Askren won the press conference? So we're going to be focusing on 3 critical data points, the psychological points within those press conferences, that press conference. Number one critical data point is where Ben Askren went to the wrong side of the perspex box, and then what happens as he's coming past Jake Paul. There's a threat there, the limbic system kicks in, but that's the first critical data point from a psychological evaluation. Watch what Jake Paul does and watch what Jake Paul doesn't do, more importantly. The second critical data point from a psychological perspective is when Ben Askren is at the perspex box. The uncomfortableness that he is generating, the ego that he is dismantling, Jake Paul is crumbling in front of us all. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to explain those links about how Ben Askren's behaviours are impacting so strongly, powerfully, almost like a nuclear bomb on Jake Paul into submission. And I'm going to use that word specifically, and I'll tell you why. And then the third data point, okay, so stay around till the end. The third data point is when 1 and 2 come together and we see it. The push in the face, the ultimate insult from anybody. No, not a push to the chest. A push to the face, the ultimate insult. And what we're going to be looking at is when Ben Askren done that, why Ben Askren done that, and what Jake Paul did not do, okay? And all of his body language is a giveaway. In that particular moment why Jake Paul's arse, can I say that? I will, it's my video, dropped. And everything that he was threatening to do before, that was the moment when he could have done it. Right there. But I'm going to explain the psychological phenomenon that actually happened there. And again, I will tell you what you can observe. I can't lie about this, all right? Biology doesn't lie. I'm just, bringing to your attention. I'm raising the iceberg of information, if you will. But what I will tell you is what you can observe. Absolutely beautiful for what could happen in the fight. So critical data point number 1 here, all right, is where Ben goes to the wrong side of the perspex box, and then he comes back. And as he's coming back, there's a crossover, okay? As he's coming back, there is a crossover. Now, interestingly, this is where the limbic system kicks in, part of the brain I often refer to on the Believe in Bruce channel. It's been there from prehistoric times. It saved us from danger. We still react. It's still, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the amygdala, the seat of fear, the emotion. That's what starts producing the adrenaline with the pituitary gland, the adrenal. It starts going through us, okay? And whether it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex or whether it's Ben Askren in this case, our body, Jake's body, the brain, the cerebral connections, the neural connections, recognizes the threat. And what we see here, okay, is we know for a fact Jake has felt a threat because he's seen him come towards him and his body shrinks. Look where his head is. His head and shoulders are down. Now, I can't make this up. Okay, I can't make this up. It is there for you to observe. The reason why we minimize our body mass, all right, the reason why, and again, you will recognize this in yourself. Watch around it for other people, you'll recognize it in them as well. is that we feel less of a target when we reduce our mass. It's called the tortoise effect. The tortoise effect is that, if you've been accused of something, what you'll do, especially if you're guilty, you'll say, I don't know, and you'll drop your head and you'll raise your shoulders. This is what we see partially here with Jake. Because Ben Askren is coming towards him. There's the threat. The thalamus picks up on that. It directs that information to the amygdala. The amygdala says, whoa, here we are. This is, we're coming face to face here. This could be confrontational. High level of discomfort. Boom, that adrenal starts pumping. Okay, what do? I shrink. And we know that he shrinks, okay? We know for a fact that he shrinks. Because when Ben Askren goes to grab his nose, okay, there's a good indication there that Ben feels, very little fear towards the other topic, towards the other subject, as we call it, yeah, because he goes to pinch his nose. There's a good bit of data there. If Ben was feeling much of a threat, now you could say it was a pacifying behaviour. You could say it was to do something with the distance, in that critical moment. However, there was 1,000 other things that he could have done if he was feeling awkward. But what he decided to do was actually physically go for grabbing the nose. And we know that Jake is taller because as Ben goes to grab the nose, you'll see Jake stand up tall. This gives us the comparison of height. This gives us the before and the after. Okay, so we know that limbic system picks something up. We know that he's seen the threat. You can see that he goes lower just in that moment when it's face to face. All right, where he can't control that situation. Again, Jake Paul is a high control individual. But as Ben Askren goes to grab his nose, you'll see Jake come back up to try to pull away. He gives his arm a little tap, but it's the height difference. It's the comparison of height that lets us know Jake Paul in that moment, Ben Askren dominated that. Because Jake Paul, without even saying anything, I often say, people will not tell you how they feel, but they will show you. And when it comes to that T-junction, boom, Jake Paul's down, he goes to grab the nose. There's the height comparison. That's all you need to know, that Ben Askren dominated that particular space. In those microseconds, that feeling come in, Jake Paul felt it, boom, he pulled away. There's the height comparison, 1-0 to Ben Askren. Critical data point where we've got here, thanks very much for staying around, by the way, okay? Second critical data point is that when Ben Askren comes into the perspex box, now we've got a thing here called the eyes off. Individualized zone of optimum function. Everybody's got a sweet spot called the inverted U. Slightly old theory, but nevertheless still applicable, or it gets your brain thinking along the correct context. So Ben Askren is coming to the perspex box, okay? Jake Paul is standing outside of it. Jake Paul wants Ben Askren to come out. Because Ben Askren does not do that, that pushes, boots, kicks Jake Paul out of his sweet spot. He is moved out of his individualized zone of optimum function. Jake Paul is known, or I've actually said, I'll be more specific, as a high control individual. His previous exploits, in fact, if you're interested, I might do, and again the research backs it up, the narcissistic traits of Jake Paul. If you're interested in that, like the video, leave your comments below as well. Do both, it'll be great for the algorithm, yeah? But I will show you in his fight with Joe Weller, and also the video that he done after, with Nate Roberts and also Ali and Ethan Gibb. The narcissistic traits where Jake Paul gets off. His mesolimbic pathway, the dopamine system, alright? He turns himself on, he gets aroused, as we say, by getting rewarded at the expense of others. So if you're interested in that, let me know below and I'll do another video. But the beautiful thing with the high control individual is that you can take control away very easy. Okay, it's a presence, it's a facade, it's a smoke and mirrors type thing that Jake Paul and other high control individuals try to portray, okay? But what we've got here is because Ben Askren and the time that, it's not as if Jake Paul says, oh, come across here, Ben, and Ben toddles over. No, he keeps shouting through. And the more he shouts through, the more time he is taking not obeying Jake. The more time he is making Jake feel awkward, because now Jake is having to wait on Ben Askren. Jake has to wait on Ben Askren to come around, and he does eventually, but it's the length of time that Ben Askren stands there that, again, Ben Askren is dominating that cerebral space. Totally dominating that cerebral space. And you can see Jake is feeling uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. He's trying to gesticulate for him to come along, but look at the head going down. Look at the head going down. His body movements are giving everything away that Ben not obeying him, Ben not doing what he's told, Ben not, bowing down to Jake Almighty, Jake doesn't know how to respond to that. He's like a fish out of water. So again, in this critical data point here, Ben Askren 2, Jake Paul 0. If you are interested in any type of psychology, body language, performance, anything to do with your head and heart, in order for you to understand more of what's going on around you so you can be that better version of you, head across to believeinbruce.com. I've created a free resource across there on the website. If you're interested in any type of performance, psychology, body language, all this type of stuff, just sign up to the mailing list, and every now and again I will be sending out a regular mail shot with hints, tips about how you can become a better version of you, but how you can notice more about the world going on around you. So the third and final and most powerful for me, powerful moment is the push in the face. Now there's been a build up here. I've just realised I've started whispering. I'm getting excited about it. There's been a build up here. Jake Paul, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. The schoolyard bully type mentality. Absolutely. Could be for the cameras, may not be for the cameras, I don't know, I don't know. But what we've got is all these threats, all these controlling mechanisms. The psychological gates that he's trying to put Ben Askren, that Ben Askren is just smashing to the side, one by one. Is the push in the face. Now this is the ultimate insult. Universal. Universal. Not just in this situation. It's not even a push in the chest, It's a direct push in the face. Now, if this was you, you would find out in that particular space how you react in those moments, And I'm not saying grabbing hold of someone and punching someone, etc. is good. I'm just saying you would find out how you react. And a little bit here is a bit like a road rage incident, It's a bit like a road rage incident where somebody cuts you up. And often with road rage incidents, it triggers this amygdala type reaction in the fight or flight and aggression because we're in our little safe space, The car is our safe space. And also we sort of deem that we can nip away if the threat becomes too big. And that's what you see, people on the horn, maybe he's doing various gesticulation with your hand gestures out of the window and, saying some expletives, etc. that probably aren't too helpful to the wider situation. But in that moment, that's all that matters. And then what occurs is you get this big, huge monster, 6'6", 22 stone, coming out of the car. And at that moment, that limbic system kicks in. Oh, what am I going to do here? I need to get out of here. I'm sorry. Or you drive off at pace, This is what we've got going on here. Jake Paul, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. He even stood up in the press conference and offered Ben Askren out. He presented himself, here is my vital organs, this is where it's going to go. But in the moment where Ben Askren shoved him, and it is a shove in the face, what did Jake Paul decide to do? What did Jake Paul decide not to do? So when Ben Askren shoves Jake Paul in the face, that's an opportunity if he was going to fight him, if he wanted to dominate that space, if he was going to do everything he has said he's been going to do. He's going to grab him, he's going to pull him back, he's going to punch him, he's going to wrestle him to the floor, he's going to stomp on him, whatever he's going to dominate mentally, physically, spiritually, that particular place. Does he do it? No, he doesn't. He keeps his feet planted and he tries to reach with him with this wussy right hook. Alright, I've got no idea what it is, but he does try to connect, but it's the space he's almost reaching with the feet, and the feet don't move. Jake Paul's been practicing his footwork. When you move in, you move your feet with you. That doesn't happen. He sort of stretches and then he pushes him away. That's the key. So his feet are planted, from a limbic system perspective, from a muscle memory perspective, he's thinking about running. Just in case this doesn't work, that's why I'm keeping the distance. I'm not making this up. That's why he doesn't go and grab him. That's why he doesn't go and grab him in that particular moment here, And also, it's backed up by that behavioural cluster. Biology doesn't lie, the data doesn't lie. He then pushes him away. He's just pushed you in the face, Jake. And you are now pushing him away. And again, when you notice he pushes, he's almost unbalanced. He's wanting to keep his root exit, his exit, as strong as possible. So as he almost topples over. And then at the end of it, when Ben Askren continues to walk away, that's where you see, come on then, I'll do it, whatever. No. Because in that critical moment there, when your limbic system kicked in, when it was a choice between fight or flight, Your body told us all we needed to know, that you were ready to fight, that you were ready to go. Okay, you didn't grab him, you didn't bring him towards you, you didn't engage in confrontation, you just had the ultimate insult, a push in the face. And you didn't do what you've been threatening to do. In that moment where it counted, Jake, that's the key. Now, I'm not saying confrontation is a good thing. I'm not saying confrontation is a bad thing. It has its uses and it has its negative consequences depending on the situation. But what I am saying is that his actions did not back up what he said he was going to do. It's a little bit like when Ben Askren walks away. The road rage incident. You know, this 22-stone monster gets, 250 pounds, whatever, gets back in the car. And then as soon as the person gets back in the car, if you've been, really scared, it's like, now the threat's gone, I'm going to drive off at a high pace while calling him a tosser! Alright, that's literally what Jake Paul is doing here. So there was 3 times where Ben Askren dominated that cerebral space, the psychological space, what's going on, psychology, okay? The mental side always becomes before the physical side. Improve this, this improves. And every single time, this comes from this. So 3 times he was challenged, 3 times he was found wanting. What does this mean for the fight? Well, this is where I'm really interested. Because again, I do not like Jake Paul, okay? His character grates on me. I do feel he is that schoolyard bully. So I'm not saying that's a wrong thing, it just sits against my moral compass is what I'm trying to say here. But also I must acknowledge that on the data that we've got, Jake Paul can box without a shadow of a doubt. I get it's not been against top opponents. I get, he's just starting his professional career, but on the data, on the fights that he has had, he can stop people. And that's also what I want to pick up on. He's not a knockout artist. He is not a knockout artist. Well, what do you mean, Bruce? He stopped people. That's what I mean. He has stopped people. He hasn't hit them once with that big right hand and they've gone down and that's it. It's a culmination of those hands that have took away their central nervous system. That I think with Dave Robertson fatigued as well. But what I'm saying, he can stop people, not necessarily knock them out with one punch and it's gone, okay? So, if he can stop Ben Askren in the first couple of rounds, which I do think he's got the potential for, it could get interested. On the flip side, what we've seen here, and what we can link from that cerebral space is Ben Askren can also dominate Jake Paul. Ben Askren has got that confidence, that composure, that patience to sit through those situations. And as I said in the previous video, if it goes into round 3, 4, etc., and Ben Askren is still standing there, that's when we're going to see what Jake Paul's made of. That's what we're going to see what type of resilience he's got. That's when we're going to see, can he really handle not being an on-top fighter? And it's going to be a fantastic fight. Hopefully, me and the lads on the True Geordie Twitch channel will be there. But again, let me know in the comments below, what are you thinking? Give me your perspective on what you think Jake Paul's character's made of. Give me your perspective on his boxing ability. Have you got below, who is going to win and when are they going to win? So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, give me a little support, give me a thumbs up, comment below what's going on here. Also remember, believeinbruce.com, if you want any free resources, head across there. But more important than any of this, believe in Bruce. Please remember to be kind to yourselves and each other.